Russia, Iran, and Syria call for an independent UN investigation into an alleged chemical attack in Idlib province, but say Western nations could try to hamper any probe. Donald Trump changes his mind on some of his most prominent campaign positions, but the White House claims it's not the president switching tack, but that, quote, evolving issues are forcing change.
If you look at what's happened, it's those entities or individuals in some cases or issues evolving towards the president's position,
And new CIA Director Mike Pompeo, who once applauded disclosures by WikiLeaks, denounces its editor-in-chief and his associates as demons as the whistleblower keeps releasing classified data connected with the intelligence agency. Watching RT International, coming to you live from Moscow. I'm Marina Joshi. Welcome to the program. Now, the foreign ministers of Russia, Syria, and Iran held a trilateral meeting today discussing the latest developments following the alleged chemical attack in Syria's Idlib province and America's retaliatory missile strike. The diplomats demanded an end to further U.S. strikes, though Washington isn't rolling out more.
We call on the U.S. and its allies to respect Syria's sovereignty and refrain from actions similar to what happened on April 7th, which have serious ramifications not only for regional, but also global security. Such actions threaten the basis of the current world order. The examples of Iraq, Libya, and other countries speak volumes.
I think this president's made it very clear that if those actions were to continue, further action will definitely be considered by the United States.
The United States took a very measured step last night. We are prepared to do more.
As they are meeting on Friday, the Russian, Iranian, and Syrian foreign ministers stressed the need for an investigation into the incident in Idlib province, claimed by the West to be a chemical attack by President Assad's forces. The top diplomats also warned that Western nations could try to hamper any probe. Meanwhile, over 24 former American intelligence officials have signed a memorandum urging Donald Trump to rethink his Syria policy and de-escalate tensions between Moscow and Washington. Well, I'm now joined live by one of the document's signatories, former U.S. diplomat Brady Kiesling. Thanks so much, Mr. Kiesling, for joining us here on RT International. So, what are you asking Donald Trump to do exactly?
We are expecting Donald Trump to use the mechanisms that already exist to get to the bottom of what happened in Idlib. That is, the United Nations system, the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, which has been effective in Syria in the past. We need them on the ground conducting a serious investigation. Don't do anything unilateral until we have the results, and then with those results, use the UN system to force whichever side is responsible to change its ways.
But what sort of reaction do you expect from him? Do you expect him to act on your memorandum?
The difficulty is that President Trump is inexperienced at this. His instinct is to do the opposite of whatever President Obama did. Obama, in the end, took a very measured response to Syria's possession of chemical weapons in the past. The result was ultimately the destruction of those stockpiles by the OPCW, a diplomatic success that no one knows about. The goal here should be to teach President Trump, and here Russia needs to do more than it has done, to explain how the international community can do what's needed in Syria. We have to let all of the organizations work in the correct way.
Well, certainly international cooperation is key to solving the Syria crisis there. Mr. Kiesling, looks like we have lost the connection with Brady Kiesling, former U.S. diplomat, talking to us. We'll try to reconnect with him a little later. In the meantime, let's switch to other stories that we're following, and related ones as well. So Donald Trump ordered his strikes on Syria last week while hosting the president of China in Florida. Tomahawk missiles hit Syrian soil as the two presidents were having dinner. Xi Jinping was one of the first people Trump informed about the attack. Going on the grounds of Shinra, he discussed that with documentary filmmaker and veteran journalist John Pilger. He thinks the timing was no coincidence.
I've no doubt, though I don't have first-hand evidence, of course, that that's the way it was planned. It was to send a message to the president of China, particularly over North Korea, that unless you haul in your friends in Pyongyang, and of course they're not especially the friends of the Chinese, but unless you do something about that, we might fire a few missiles over there too. It'll be rather different, that of course, because the missiles could then open up a world war with a nuclear power. At the very least, it would probably destroy one of America's closest allies or supplicant states, South Korea. But that's how I read that.